Yeah, I'm Twisted Snakes, a furry rider since 2017. So over the years, I had people ask me to teach writing, give feedback on their stories, and share my writing tips. And I figured a workshop would be a good way to help a bunch of people at once, as well as allow you guys to help each other out by giving feedback. And that's why I put together this writing workshop so we can collate some of that knowledge and to help build a writing community as well. The lessons will be uploaded online in this format, so this will be available after the workshop if you want to revisit any of the lessons. And I hope you guys find this content helpful as a first step to get you to where you want to be as a writer. So with that, let's get started with the workshop. Oh, wait, you can? Hmm, interesting. Okay, anyway, we have 5 minutes before we start, and I don't mind starting a bit later if more people are gonna get on. How's everyone doing today? Class is starting soon. Then we thought already started. Then I feel like in any like if we are vibing, like that's part of the class as well. Right, like I feel like if you come in like chill and we get to know each other and then we're just like if we learn if we're I don't know like socializing, like that's part of the experience. Yeah. So my avatar does work. I guess you should be able to see it. Tired, but think the vacuuming the house to wake you up. What time is it for you guys? Feeling a little rough tonight. Oh no. All the best, guys. You can see the chat, but the video is buffering. Oh no. Good morning. Hope you guys get coffee. 3 p.m., 8 p.m. Okay, it's coming to 9 p.m. for me. West Coast. Indeed. Let's see. Video is buffering. Okay, if it helps, I can just not share my video and you guys can see the recording. Like, I mean, that's my screen. Will that help? Like, is it still lagging for you, Teo? Yeah, I think the video should work fine for everyone, but like sometimes it does latency can cause issues for those with like slower internet connection. So I just want to make sure everything is fine. Morning and afternoon and evening. Trisha. Hey, Monroe, you made it. I thought you said you'll be busy. Hiya. You Mr. Strix over there. This is the avatar I use for streaming to Twitch as well. Okay, if I speak too fast, please do tell me as well. Because I understand my accent is not the easiest to understand. Hmm. Are these gonna be recorded? Yes, I will record them. Yeah. I figured I'll turn on the avatar because like it'll be like, yay, it feels like we're chatting, like having someone to look at. Why? While I stare at like these minimal slides. Yeah. Honestly, I was like surprised that so many people are gonna show up. I was just like, maybe if I organize and like 3 to 5 people show up, and I'll think. Then from there, I'll like think about organizing. Like I think 40 or 50 people signed up. I was like, ooh, okay, yeah, we need to do a workshop. We should. Also me signing up for way too many commitments. How do I lecture for a blank screen? I mean, it's fine. I think I'm used to. Okay, I think the good part about Discord or like stuff like these in general is that you can really like there's way more like it's way more relaxed. So if I want audience engagement, like you guys can ask questions, like rather than the whole keep your questions to the end of the lesson. I was like, I'm good. Let's not do that. I think if you have a question, you can just type it in. I can answer when convenient, and hopefully, rather than, oops, I've forgotten all the questions I wanted to ask. Ah, well. Okay. So how's everyone? Hope the weekends are going all right so far. There's a request to speak. You could, yeah. But I'm also recording. So what I'm doing is I'm recording my screen without recording the Discord audio. But I will read out the questions so that they will be recorded, and then when I reply, yeah, like there's some context for when I upload it to. I'll probably either upload to Google Drive or just upload to YouTube. An unlisted. Yeah. Yeah, basically, if you ask for permission to speak and I allow you to speak, you'll basically be able to hear me as well. Is Yeah, because otherwise, to do that normally, what we'll have to do is to mute everybody, or people who come in have to mute. And if someone comes in and they forget to mute, and then the background noise with the fan and everything will show up. Yeah, this new stage feature is cool. Yo, doing alright, productive art wise. Yo, that's cool. Sharing hates the fact that you're running Windows 7. Oh no. Okay. Hope this works. New feature. I mean, it was open to like certain channels only, right? Yeah, evening for the. It was open to certain channels, I think the bigger, more popular ones. And then they just like they slowly opened it up to other servers. But by then I forgot like what we needed to do. So it's just like it's fine. Existed since 2021. Did they? Oh, I think it's only for community servers, right? I think even now it's community servers. So like Discord loves to only allow larger servers. Yeah, they do that. Coding your thoughts on pseudocode. Nice. What do you need as audience? Just attention, I guess. I'll kind of introduce you guys to what you guys need as well, but it won't be too much. I feel like the goal of my classes slash course is something that you can easily get into without having to worry about like money or like resources or like time. Yeah, because I'm also a working adult, so it's just like, do I want to overcommit or like no? Okay, it's 9:03. Let's get started. Okay, so welcome everyone to this Words to Wolves workshop. So first up, like this is like a intro to the introduction workshop, right? Just an idea of what to expect, right? So I'm Twisted Snakes or Twist for short, or some people just say Snakes. Honestly, it's up to you. Decro is my persona name, so usually within the local fandom, people call me Decro, but honestly, either one works. And I'm a self-taught writer, so if you are hoping for like a professional person who like, oh yeah, I've written like 3 billion books, like I'm sorry, like that's not me. Uh yeah, but so here's an idea of what I've been doing. So when I was a wee little boy, I think like in school we we were given like the chance to do creative writing, and I love creative writing in class. Right, I will like the teacher will be like, okay, write 300 pages. 300 pages. Oh my goodness, 300 words. write 300 words, right? And I'll be like, ooh, I'm gonna start writing. And then it ends up being like 1,000 word story or something like that. Yeah. And the thing is, the unfortunate thing is that over the years, those got taken out. It started turning into like argumentative essays, reports, research papers, and like, oh my goodness, like that's cool and all, but like when do we get to do creative writing, right? And so it was that, right? So when I was in national service in 2013 or so, like they issued laptops and they had like online military classes as well. So while you are done with your physical training, you can go back and look at the online courses and go through more stuff. And I'm just like, I use them to write. I started writing for DeviantArt, and in fact, DeviantArt at that time had like the stash writing feature where you could write it and then it would be online, and then you can open it and log on another computer and continue writing the same story. I think at that time Google Docs might not have been so huge. I'm not super sure, but I did enjoy writing there. And like there's a feature where you can just press post and it will post directly to your profile on DeviantArt. Oh, that was great. But I only wrote on and off. So over like the course of 4 years, like I only wrote like 13 short stories. In 2017, I kind of I started to write and I started to post to Fur Affinity. Since then I wanted to like I've been doing it more regularly, as regularly as I can. I still have like a full-time job on the side. I have a billion and one hobbies. Writing is just one hobby in like otherwise I'll be like streaming, graphics design, like guitar and stuff like that. So writing kind of isn't like my main thing even then. But I still do love writing, and in fact on Fur Affinity right now, like I'm approaching like 3,000 watches, which I'm just like, yes, great. Then in 2021, I also published my first book too. It's nothing special, but I'm super happy because I did a lot of like the self-publishing process, and towards the end, I think on the last one, I'll go through like some of like the further steps you could go through after this workshop. So just a glimpse into publishing a book. Yes, but again, disclaimer: I'm not a professional writer. In fact, I didn't even study writing. Like I work as a programmer, but I think over the years I put in a lot of time and effort into these. So if you know my writing, I hope you can feel it. I have learned tips and tricks from different sources. I've come up with my own techniques, and I hope that coming to this, like there is something you can take away from this. So for the goals, like if you are starting out with writing, I hope like this is a place for you to overcome the inertia. I think like writing has never been hard, right? In fact, it's only been getting easier over the years, right? It used to be that you have to pick a pen and paper, and then if you want to publish, like you have to make copies of it to send to people, right? These days it's just open Google Docs, type it out somewhere, slap it on like Fur Affinity, and everyone can see it. Like we are in a good place, right? So I wanna, if there is still inertia, I want to help you get over that inertia, and I want to help you get into writing, right? For those who are already writers, in fact, new writers as well, I hope this gives you like more tips on how to improve on writing. And and lastly, like find your passion. Maybe not everyone here is going to pick up a pen and start writing, and I think that's fine. Like if you're just here to like figure stuff out and see like what does this random wolf online have to say, right? Then I hope like some of the passion rubs off and you pick up something new. Okay, so workshop structure. I'm gonna be focusing on short fiction creative stories. Okay, if you're hoping to learn how to write technical reports and whatnot, sorry, that's out of scope. I cannot do that. We will start with basic. So early on, if you feel like, oh, okay, these kind of things I'm already aware, that's fine, right? I think that's okay. But we will slowly work our way up, and some of the stuff that you learn later down the line will definitely be new because some of these techniques I came up with myself. Yeah, I wish someone taught me, but it's okay. After all the research, I'm gonna impart the knowledge. Um I will treat this though as like a foundation kind of thing. So I won't go all like super deep into theory and like psychology and like here's the history of writing. Nah. But I think it's important that you put whatever knowledge to use, and I will, you guys will practice. I will also focus a bit on examples. In fact, quite a lot on examples. You will see over the course. Yeah. And lastly, we'll have take-home exercises too. Okay, I understand that, like, some people just want to come here and just listen in. But I think it's just like, you can't watch a million art tutorials and call yourself an artist, right? At some point in time you have to pick up a brush, you have to draw. That's the same with writing. Like all the writing tutorial videos and all the Twisted Snakes workshops in the world will not make you a good writer. In the end, you still have to take your keyboard, you have to start typing, right? And you'll get there, right? But you need to practice. I'm aiming for you guys to spend at most an hour a week. But if you are inspired to write more, then by all means just keep writing. I think it's good to if you are inspired, right, don't let the scope of the assignment stop you. Just go ahead, write even more, right? Go for it. We have a homework Dropbox thing in Discord, which you can see. So just drop it like a day before the next class, so I have time to take a look. And my plan is, in fact, I'll show you. Let me show you guys the plan. Yeah. But first, the examples are not the exercises are not gonna be super difficult. I'm gonna try and make it as bite-sized as possible while still like encompassing what lessons were learned, right? So this is one of the examples I'll show you, the exercises I'll show you in future. Like, okay, pick any three pictures. Oh my goodness. For each one, treat it like a setting in a story. Introduce it in 2 to 3 paragraphs. You are free to choose your own pictures as well, but try to cover different settings to widen your breadth, right? So I will show pictures like these and treat them like a setting in your story. So in this case, the exercise will be how to introduce a scene, right? And so this will be the kind of examples you get to play with. And from there, like, we get a feel of writing, right? And then if you do the homework, some people were joking about when I was streaming the other time. There's like, I was like, how do we motivate my students to finish the course? And I think it was it ATKT. He suggested like Mr. Strix over there. He suggested, what if we give them a cert? And I'm just like, sure, let's do a certificate. And then we spend like an hour designing this. So if you guys do all the homework, all right, I will I will put your name into this and I'll send you a soft copy. I can't print for you because that will be like I have to ship it to you and it'll cost me money. Yeah, but you are free to print it yourself. I'm not sure if any companies out there will recognize this as a legitimate certificate. I highly doubt it. So you should, if you are planning to drop out of school for this, please don't. So please stay in school. Yeah. So structure, keep it safe for work. I know some people are coming in from the other side of things. Let's keep the content safe for work. Lessons, I will upload them to YouTube. But I still recommend coming to the in-person ones, as in-person as online gets, because like, if you wanna engage, you wanna ask questions, yeah, like this will be a good place. All right. And so the weekly timeline will be we teach one lesson. Okay. I will put in additional material that I will collate regarding that lesson topic. So if you want to read up more before you start, like please do. I think that would be useful. The take home exercise, just feel free to do it throughout the week. My aim is that you can finish it in less than an hour. Again, if you want to put in more effort, go for it. Like writing is creating, right? Like you are creating new worlds, new scenes, new characters, and I think like you bring to life something that is, like if you are looking at a book and you're just like, okay, this is a static thing, right? Like then I think that's kind of like not really a good way to see it, because when you write, right, you are bringing worlds to life, right? And when a person reads it turns into you're collaborating with the reader. When you describe a brown door, right? The reader's gonna imagine a different door, right? How Harry Potter looks to J.K. Rowling will be different to how Harry Potter looks to whoever reads it. That is until the movie comes out, and now Harry Potter is Daniel Radcliffe. But you get my point. Right. So it's creation, and I think that's really, like, at the core of it. If you are passionate about it, then just keep writing. Don't let the exercise stop you. Try to submit a day or 12 hours before the next lesson so I can take a look. I will At the next lesson, I will try to go. In fact, I will go through submissions if you guys, like, for those that are open to feedback, and I can go through some of them and show you guys, like, what I like about each one, what are the good points, what are the points that we could improve on. I think, writing is, like, it's good to look at what other people are writing and see whether we can learn from that. In fact, when I read fiction these days, it really, a lot of it is just, how do I write better? What are they doing well that I can learn from? And in fact, we will be referencing a lot of like what other writers have done in books as well. Yeah. So, like, let's look at the quote. See, a writer's voice is not character alone, it's not the style, and it's far more. The writer's voice line the stroke of an artist's brush, the thumbprint of her whole person, her idea, wit, humor, passion, and rhythms. And in fact, this is something like we describe as like the writer's voice. I'll be able to teach you stuff. In the end, though, you will find your own writing style, and we call that like the writer's voice. That will come through in your writing. So if you read my stories and you say, like, there is a certain style to it, right? That's my writer's voice. You see, like the same way, yeah, like what Rhoda was saying, right? As artists have like the certain art style, writers do have a style as well. There's no like standard good way to write, right? There are a lot, and you will discover this in the process of writing, which is why the exercises are important. Okay. Another quote, all right, learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. This one, I find it particularly important. So, who's here heard of the rule show, don't tell? Yeah, okay. So, show, don't tell is something that people tell you should always follow, right? Why? Don't tell me the moon is shining, show me the glint of light on broken glass, right? Don't tell me she's sad, tell me she sobbed into her pillow all night, right? That paints a beautiful picture, right? Because now, instead of trying to imagine what that is like, you paint the picture for the reader. And it sounds like, yes, we should follow this all the time, right? Let's take a look at J.K. Rowling in her. You may have heard of Harry Potter before, right? They then spend more than an hour reviewing summoning charms, which, according to Professor Flitwick, were bound to come out in their hours. And he rounded off the lesson by setting them their largest amount of charms homework ever. It was the same, if not worse, in Transfiguration. Okay, that's a lot of telling, right? She's not showing us what happened in class. In fact, she skimmed over the entire hour in one sentence. I would say one paragraph, but you realize that one paragraph is one sentence. Why? Because the class is boring. And if she makes you sit through the entire class, right, you would be bored. You would have dropped out of the story before you got to the exciting bits. See? So this is why she chooses here to tell you what the classes are, so that when it gets to the interesting part, she can show you, right? So these are not rules that you need to follow, okay? Like, these are not rules that you need to obey all the time, right? Learn the rules, figure out when's the best time to use them, and make your own judgment. I sometimes go through like my writing. I know I'm breaking some so-called rules that I need to do, right? Like that like classes will teach you, teachers will teach you. And that's fine. Just break it. If it reads well, right, then go for it. So throughout the entire workshop, if you see stuff that you don't agree with, that's fine. If you read, like, if you're looking at some of the rules and then you're just like, okay, well, like, I can see how this could be useful. I don't feel like it's my style, right? Then feel free to ignore it. Feel free to move on, right? But if you are curious, I would recommend just give it a go. Check it out. Like try the new techniques. And if it doesn't work for you, it's fine. Just give it a chance before you just like brush it off like yeah, too much effort. Yeah. Okay, come, let's pause for questions before we move on. Okay, let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, any questions for me? Question about voice. Scientific writing is fairly passive. Any tips? Okay, so I will break a lot of things down. I think the good thing about one thing I think I do well is I break down what I do into steps. Right? There isn't I know some people like to teach by the just go by feel and like if you think it's good. I try not to do that. So if you feel like something is good, right, or like maybe you like a certain aspect of writing, I can usually help you break it down into the exact techniques that are being used. So with the exact technique, it gives you a framework to really just outline it, make it good, and then it will hopefully like override your passive voice. Question about show don't tell. Is there a point where it's better to tell rather than to show? Yeah, for instance, over here, right? I mean, this example, the whole point is that we are going to gloss over the boring lessons so that you're not reading through like 5 pages of boring summoning charms and transfiguration, right? Tell can be useful as well, right? What's the expected level of experience in writing? I, as far as possible, like I keep this to so long as you have a good grasp of English, like you can go like this is fine. I don't need you to have written stories before, but so long as you're open to practice, you are free like you're free to join, right? If you do feel like you want more practice, then again I feel like you're free to write more on the side, right? Especially if you feel like you need to catch up, then spend more time practicing. Question regarding sci-fi accuracy. Okay, this one we will get to world building. I won't answer that now. Have you been able to find a way to identify a person's voice? You can tell how writers, right? Like it depends. Like there are some writers that I love their writing style. Suzanne Collins of the Hunger Games. Her, her books are great. I will reference them here and there throughout the writing. You will see. I feel like her style has been good, and with the fourth Hunger Games book, that one really blew it out of the park. I might be a normie for liking those mainstream stuff instead of the literary geniuses stuff, but you know, I'm a normie. Yeah. So I think if you go and look at how other people write, and I'm not talking about like whoever posts whatever stories to Fur Affinity. If just go out there, read books, get a feel. There's a fourth book. Yes, Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes. A movie is coming out end of this year for it. Yeah, that is a trailer. Correct. It's great. Admittedly the third book did start slowing down in terms of pacing, and I got very bored with the politics. But the fourth one was amazing. Yes. Okay. Any more questions regarding the lesson? Because we will have to move on. Yeah, you don't read books. Okay, I do recommend reading. One of the best ways to learn how to write is to read. Yeah, required reading is not fun. Yes, required writing is not fun too. But you guys are here today because you have chosen to write, right? So, if you choose to read, you too can read. Okay, I see the chat is moving. Okay, will there be after class chat room? I will hang around if you guys want to ask additional stuff, but I will like it won't be like it'll be outside of the session and I will just maybe not record those. We'll see how it goes. How about ebooks? It's still reading. So long as you're consuming content, it's still reading.